living in a dream of someone else's making hasn't been the greatest fun most of the time. That's kind of a new phenomena, but what we are able to do is continue creation from where we are today. And we don't need to actually know every detail of the physics or the metaphysics in order to create, because we're constantly creating. Creation is perpetual, it never stops. So when we look at the news or the trending topics of the end of the world or the splitting of the earth, we have a choice. We can choose to continuously consume the doom, the gloom, the apocalyptic themes of destruction and death and disaster, which is fine. We could look at what those potentials are to be aware, know, what may happen to some. But I say, and not to eliminate that we do that. We can do that, and we can focus on creating a post-apocalyptic world of our choice, of what we prefer. And so I say to do both because I like to look at the balance of things. How will you know what you don't want if you've never seen it? Also, how will you know what you do want if you've never imagined it? So if we want to imagine what we do want, we have to start with the basics. And for years, it's been pretty difficult to try to visualize what I want, because I was climbing out of impoverished mindsets, lack mindsets, being polarized negative, left brain logical, undivine feminine, and just a general regular miserable human being person without the awareness of self or the awareness of all is self. And so my visualizations would be limited, extremely limited to, okay, I know how to manifest. What can I manifest? I would manifest things that were very basic, which is no problem. Like, that's good. That's a good place to start. But when you realize that the entire theater of the universe comes from within, then you can broaden how we create. We can tweak and adjust our creation to match our newfound awareness of self and our profoundly vast imagination. Anything we come up with from the mind of a human or the mind of just human imagination will be limited no matter what. But once we tap into our true self, all is self, accept all, and have a radical love for it all, we will be able to open a channel to the fullness of everything. And everything can flow through to us. And then we can make choice. So that is a given. We all might just know that. Creation comes from a place of love, the heart, thoughts, and the ethers, imagination. The important part that I wanted to mention was that we've been doing this for the external reality. We've externalized, and not just we as in you, me, whoever's listening, but even those who devise certain prison settings for this planet and other planets. The externalization is somewhat of an augmented reality. And then we're shown that with VR and different technologies like that. Advanced video games, which are basically indistinguishable from the day-to-day reality in which we think we live. Okay? Their externalized version of creation has been to modify foods to resist pests or to have certain attributes or traits, increase vitamin D, or whatever it is that the engineers of food would like to adjust. So we have genetically modified foods. We have cloning technology. That's also an externalization. We have super soldier technology, right? Which is an externalization from someone manipulating the genetics, the DNA, to produce a certain phenotype in the world, right? We have eugenics as a topic of how to create the perfect human from the mind of someone or a group of someones who aim to change the world by improving something in the world. We have modified rain, weather, hurricanes, tornadoes. And we can see this sort of potential technology as an externalized power, even back to Greek mythology, even back to Bible stories of Moses parting the seas, or how the oceans were seeded. And then there were 7 days to the creation, that story. These are just hints to an externalized version of creating. Beings then were super powerful, and maybe it was us. We're able to create from thought alone. And now the creation requires millions, if not billions, of minds to create the externalized, augmented reality in which a collective, which may not have the capacity for an internal augmentation, has decided what the world they want should be. And the majority of the minds used in the creation of this futuristic augmented reality have no idea that their energy, their thoughts and feelings are being siphoned for the powering and fueling of the new creation, which is in process, in progress. So, what do? We visualize our dream world, and we do it with specific details. We pay particular attention to our inner world and how our inner energies, feeling states, thoughts, desires, wants, how those all are critical for us to arrange our creating power towards what we want. Towards, I'll say, not just what we want, but towards the highest potential life, experience, augmented reality that we prefer. Because if you don't have a plan, someone else can plan for you, and it's evident as more events occur. You can see that more people are going to be aware of it and immediately be terrified, not realizing that they have the power to do something. So this is basically a clarion call to you from all of us to get out a notepad, go manual, pen, paper, pencil, paper, and sketch out the world you prefer. Take your time. If you're not very handy with a pen or pencil, or your artistry doesn't have to be perfect. If you prefer, you can use not internet, but you can use digital pictures if you like. You can get magazines and make a poster board. But this is what it's all about for me. It's internal. It's internal. But writing it down serves as a guideline or an outline because you're not going to look at that. That's external. But how do you do it if you've never done it before? You may need to write it down. You may need to use one of those artist apps for a moment. But this is what we do. We create using the tools of creation, which are color, sound, geometry, textures, light, shadow. We incorporate our senses because feeling is the essence that produces this. So we have a sense of smell, taste, hearing, touch. Our touch sense gives us awareness, a spatial awareness of where we are in the world. There's a vibratory sensation also and a pressure sense. We also have a biology, a biochemistry, an immune modulating body, which brings to life using our central nervous system and our peripheral nervous system to marry with our chakras, our nadis and meridians, that which we experience in the world. So we need to remember that as we're creating the world we prefer. Because this is what it takes. If we just pick a world where we have this car, that house, this dog, the sky is still blue, the trees are still green, that might just be limiting. And we might not be able to see the difference between the futuristic augmented reality that's being planned for the majority of people, the majority of unaware people, versus if we say, I want to see a world where the sky is pink or the sun changes color throughout the day. Then we might be able to see and realize our own preferred reality. I hope you get where I'm getting to here. I'll give an example of one of my reality dreams. It is still limited, but it's a start for conversing on this. The octopus. I feel the octopus is one of the most ultimate creatures to be on this planet. It has 8 tentacles, and each with its own brain, sensing network, and ability to make its own decisions and regenerate. The octopus has limitless shapes it can take. It has limitless coloring even to the human being, to our limited senses. For this spectrum of light, it's limited in the different textures and colors and shapes it can take on as it navigates its life in the ocean. It can fit into small spaces. It can expand into larger spaces. It's highly intelligent. And I admire the octopus because its consciousness has developed a body type where its superpowers are generated from within. Nothing is externalized. There's nobody in the ocean manipulating the genetics of an octopus so that as far as we know, the octopus shares a consciousness which others share, such as us, but has been able to utilize it in a different manner due to its soul composition, due to its soul growth. And it has created this life of abundance and plenty. And so with the example of the octopus, I believe we can, no, I know we can build a limitless, beautifully organic creation for our world. I believe, no, again, I know that this can be challenging because it requires a level of I don't give a fuckness. It requires a level of maybe people will think I'm delusional and I don't care. Because once you really know that you're a creator and you've been creating for a long time, long time, then you'll fully know whatever you imagine will be.